It's not in the top 100 films of all time.
That I felt like I was a child idiot and that these people were already filmmakers.
It may not even be in the top 500 films of all time, if we're being frank.
They somehow made a sequel that might be better than the original film.
Maybe that's Quentin coming through. Bar for bar, word for word. Hello and welcome to the Real Talk Podcast with Studio 24. I'm Hamm, and today we got the usual suspects. Kael's here with me, and what we are going to talk about today is, very personal to us. Top 10 films of all time. It's going to be crazy. Going to have some unique picks. Going to probably fight with each other after it, but I don't know. It'll be a fun time. What do you think, Kael?
I'm really excited to give my top 10 movies. This was a hard list to put together, and let me explain the top 10 movies just a little bit. These maybe not be the top 10 best films of all time, but we're trying to throw movies that could be considered of merit to be in a top 10 list. So while these do ride into some of our favorite films, we've also tried to make sure that each film deserves merit. And so we're not throwing any schlockfest films in our top 10 lists. So we're going to go ahead and start out with our first section on the Real Talk Podcast, which is Shout That Out. Hamm, you got anything that you want to shout out today? I'll shout out first.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with shout out to Supergirl. Trailer just came out. I didn't think the trailer was stellar. But I didn't think it was bad either. I think maybe they're trying to hold a lot from us, and I think that's an amazing thing. I think it's not a trailer that shows you what the whole movie is going to look like, and I am glad that we have moved past that. I think back to some of those early Avengers trailers, and you're just like, oh, hell, I might not even need to go watch the movie. Or Batman versus Superman always makes me remember, it's like, hey, they put the whole movie right there in that trailer. Was really glad to see Supergirl kept it fairly contained. I'm really excited about the movie.
Yeah, that's a good shout that out. I'm gonna phone a friend here, Doll. Do you remember I mentioned something that I was like, yeah, that's really good to shout that out. I don't know if this is gonna go in the edit, but I've lost all recollection of what I had in my mind.
You said earlier today?
It was right before we started filming. Kael said something. I was like, that'd be good. That might be me. ERB, Epic Rap Battles of History.
Nice hat, dork. You look like a duck. How'd Alfred read your books? He told me they suck.
Bar for bar, word for word. I don't know if there's a bad one. They're all fun.
A new one just came out.
A new one?
Red Baron versus the White Death.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I like Red Baron pizza.
Not the pizza.
Da-dun-shh. Yeah. I don't know. Just so much nostalgia there,
Yeah.
Shout out the Ninja Turtles versus the Renaissance Painters. That might be my favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Without further ado, I think it's time to dive into the main topic after some shout that outs. I believe we flipped a coin and it's going to land on me first, correct?
I don't remember flipping the coin. I think you just made that bullshit up, but go ahead.
All right. So, the proverbial coin has been flipped and the gloves have been tossed off per Kael just then. So top 10 of all time. I mean, I gotta throw in an honorable mention. And you said we're not throwing in schlock movies. My honorable mention is schlocky as hell. But it's a film that has merit to me. It's a movie that got me into movies. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Everyone just clicked off. What the heck, man?
Everybody just said, who is this Joker? And why is his taste so shit already? Let me frame why it gets an honorable mention for me. It's not in the top 100 films of all time. It may not even be in the top 500 films of all time, if we're being frank. I don't know if it has a lot of cinematic value, but it's a movie I watched that started a spree of watching all sorts of different movies throughout high school, and like it got me into film really heavy. Like from there I started watching, I was like, all right, let's explore this Tarantino guy. No shout out to him. Let's explore Scorsese. You know, let's look at some of the proverbial greats from recent history and stuff like that. And it really did start like my journey. So shout out that movie that got the ball rolling. It is a schlock fest though, but it'll still make me laugh every once in a while. So let's break in to the top 10 of all time. These picks are personal to me. To me, they all have some form of merit or changed my brain chemistry in some sort of way to like looking at movies and stuff like that. Coming in with number 10, Good Will Hunting. It's just a solid movie about, you know, a guy with gifts who never had the opportunity to showcase them because of his like lot in life, and finally does, and everything looks up. And you kind of get the two heads. You get Robin Williams and you get Stellan Skarsgård kind of coming at him from both ends. Like Robin Williams trying to fix him and make him focus on his personal life, and Stellan Skarsgård kind of like ushering him into using these gifts and kind of like throwing everything else to the side because it's such a brilliant mind and all that. But it's a good movie, and everybody turns in a great performance. Like, well acted, well written. It makes me miss Robin Williams when I watch it. Because it's like so many more performances he could have had, you know, just like this. And even in his comedy movies, you know, he was great.
You like apples?
How you like them apples? One of the best comebacks of all time, I think that is, in cinema history. Just, oh, hey, it's that long hair freak from the Harvard bar or whatever. Just, you like apples? Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples? Like, such a great comeback. And honestly, I hope so many people have gotten that moment in real life. Because that's a moment, you know, in the movie that you're like, yeah, Will, get him. But in real life, that'd be just as satisfying type of deal. So, fun, good movie. Number 9, more recent movie from 2019, Ford v. Ferrari. It is one of those movies that changed my brain chemistry concerning cinema.
Almost put it on my list.
It's solid. It's a solid movie about passion and creativity and trying to create something that will last. And in that movie, it creates something that will last for me, and that is watching that movie in theaters with my dad. I remember watching the movie. I'm just so involved. I'm like, dude, how are they going to pull this off? Le Mans is coming up, like, you know? And then the racing at the end of it, like, just the driving and stuff, the shifting gears, and, like, Christian Bale driving that car is such engaging cinema in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant. And the sound design is even great. I think it won an Oscar for sound design, or was at least nominated. So
editing as well.
That's number 9. Number 8, we're throwing it all the way back to 1939. And this is probably the oldest movie I have seen. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It is such a great classic comedy satire. Like, Blueprint type movie, if you want to make a satire comedy, in my mind. Jimmy Stewart is wonderful. I watched this in a government class my senior year of high school, and that's how much it made a lasting impact. Because most of the time, they just throw in a bullshit movie in school, you know, be like, here you go, here's some friggin' like Trolls or something gets thrown on. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, in my mind, is just as relevant today as it was in 1939.
That's how you know you've made a good movie.
Exactly. And wonderful performances, great comedy. A movie I'll never forget watching, you know?
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, at that point in time, I wasn't too into old movies. You know, you're in that mindset when you're younger of like, it's old, sure, but is it really even that good, or is it just so many people say it's good? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is genuinely, it's that good. It's that good of a movie in my mind. Up next, number 7, Saving Private Ryan. That was along the journey that started with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Crazy.
I stopped and watched Saving Private Ryan, and it's just a well-made movie and a tribute to World War II and the men that served in World War II. Spielberg's at his best. Tom Hanks is at his best. Everybody in that movie is giving it their all on screen and in the story of that movie. And it all comes together into a beautiful and even heartbreaking cinematic masterpiece for Spielberg, honestly. Like, it may be his best movie. So, yeah, Saving Private Ryan. Number 6, we're going to throw it back again. I'm going to throw it back. Also concerning a World War II topic. Casablanca. Humphrey Bogart. He's up in there Bogarting it. So, Casablanca is... It's just classic kind of noir in a way. You know, you got the guy, he's in there smoking a cigar and stuff like that, and the dame walks up, and there's a whole unspoken history between them and all that. And by the end, it's just, I knew when the credits rolled, I was like, yeah, this is a really good movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a movie that also stands the test of time. And I feel like it's one of those that you could throw on at any moment and be happy when you watch it. Highly recommend that. Same with Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Don't sleep on those old time films, because, I mean, there's a reason they get hailed as the greats. Number 5, No Country for Old Men, is a movie I didn't like when I first saw it. When the credits first rolled on that movie, I was like, what the hell? But as time went on, it's just such an engaging movie with an ending that, I mean, part of the reason I didn't like it is because I was used to kind of, not nebulous endings, but it's either like we get a good ending or a bad ending. And this one just kind of like, it's an ending. You know, and it kind of ends on a sour note in a way for certain people involved in it. And I didn't like that. But upon like further exploration and rewatching, it's like, no, it's the real ending. It's the real life ending. And fate has a funny way of working and stuff like that. And such a good watch. And everybody is performing at their best. That's another thing about all the movies on my list. I feel like everybody's turning in good performances. And usually the story in some way is solid. Next up, The Batman, 2022. It is the most recent movie on this list. That movie, and I joke about it on an Instagram account, that movie changed my life in a way. Like, I felt my brain getting rewired for like comic book movies and stuff like that. I think it elevated the game.
I think, yeah, it reminded us that comic book movies should use more source material than they have been, and like comic book movies can be just as serious as you want them to be. People will go watch them, and not just, it doesn't just say something about comic book movies. It shows that like we can keep recreating Batman in new ways that people will always show up to see.
Yeah, just when you think Batman on screen again, oh, what are they going to do this time? They do something different.
They make the best Batman film yet.
They make the best Batman film yet. It is my number 1 Batman movie among live action films. So, yeah, and just, that's something I've done. The Batman I've also gone on a deep dive on. Like, not every movie I listen to the director's commentary of or look up behind the scenes. I've listened to the director's commentary of the Batman. I've watched behind the scenes documentaries. A lot was going into that movie that was being pioneered, and I think the Batman helped like perfect methods for it at a certain point.
Oh, when you're talking about like XR volume screens and shooting on stuff like that, I mean, not only was the Batman ahead of like other comic book movies, but it was like continuing to pioneer film in a similar way that like Star Wars did.
Yeah, which is funny because in Star Wars projects in the same time range of the Batman nowadays can look bad.
Well, I'll say this. Greg Fraser shot the Batman. He also shot seasons 1 and 2 of Mando.
Yeah.
And he didn't shoot season 3 of Mandalorian, and they tried to still shoot everything on the volumes, and it looks like absolute shit.
Exactly.
So, I mean...
I think the best use of the volume might be in the Batman as well.
I haven't seen everything that the volume's ever been used for, so I don't know.
Maybe we don't know because the other movies have gotten so good at using it. So.
But the Batman looks amazing.
But that is number 4. Number 3, we're in the final 3. Final 3 of the race here. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King is such a solid conclusion to a trilogy of films. Like, it makes you laugh still, it makes you cry, it makes you cheer, and it's, I don't know, it's such a hope core movie as well. Because it's like every time the good guys encounter like a blockage, someone in the group is just like, nah, we move forward. And I'm here for you, my friend, and stuff like that. There's so many of those moments, and it makes it such a good and satisfying watch, you know? Number 2, a little bit of a controversial director now because of recent comments about Paul Dano at the time of filming this podcast, at least. I don't know. Maybe he said some even more egregious shit since then. So I wouldn't put it past him. I don't know. Maybe for saying this, he'll whip my ass up and down the street. So,
you gotta throw the clip in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're filming.
Yeah.
But if that was off, I'd be whipping your ass up and down the street.
Yeah, go.
Pulp Fiction is a movie that it was probably the second or third movie. We gotta get it together, man. We gotta get it together.
Oh yeah, if you don't get it together, I'm gonna kick your ass
up and down the street.
I'd be whipping your ass up and down the street.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction is a movie. Second or third movie in that journey that started with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Okay.
So like, that is a movie. When I watched it, I was like,
I remember when you watched
damn
that
good,
movie.
because it's been my number 1 movie for a long time. And it's like, it's kind of pop cinema. Like, it's a movie that's just popular and stuff like that. Is it the best movie ever made or anything like that? I don't know. It's a film of merit.
You've got plenty of people that are going to argue it, though.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just a solid watch. Like, it's a movie that I would go to the theater and watch. We did go to the theater and watch it.
And it was awesome.
And it was great. And it's a movie that if it's on TV, and if I was like sitting around on a day watching TV, if I had like cable and I flipped through it and it's like, ooh, hang on, I like this scene. And you're going to stop and watch the rest of the movie type thing. It's a remote drop film. And that's Pulp Fiction. I mean, also the dialogue, it opened up a whole world of writing to me as well. Because usually films feel so like, you know, proper and stuff like that. But it's like, Pulp Fiction, I think in like the opening scene, it's like, what do you think they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France?
Mm-hmm.
Royale with cheese. And it's like just guys bullshitting and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And it's like, that's kind of what inspired my early film journey, was films where people talk casually a lot. Mm-hmm. And, you know, kind of opening my mind to that and such. Okay. Maybe that's Quentin coming through.
I'd be whipping your ass up and down the street.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Number 1. Let's go to number 1. He's coming to whip my ass up and down the street, is what it is. Roll the clip again.
I'd be whipping your ass up and down the street.
Yeah.
I love that this is making it into the podcast. This damn clip. Number 1. We get to number 1. And this is because of just recently in my life. This, in 2025, I listened to an audiobook, George Lucas, A Life, by Brian J. Jones. And it is such an inspiring book to me. It covers George Lucas from kind of pre-George days. You get a background of the family he was born into and stuff like that. Childhood, teenage years, film school, to 2016. And I think that's when the book was released.
The Cell.
You kind of get through The Cell, yeah. But not as much information was known about The Cell then. So you kind of get a more rosy painted picture of it. But the respect and admiration... Quentin's coming, man. He's like, you put a George Lucas movie above mine? Okay.
What's going on here?
How's it going, man? How are you?
What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here?
Yeah, that guy. Oh, dude, he's here. He's here. He is outside, dog. He's riding up on the motorcycle Bruce Willis stills at the end of Pulp Fiction. Okay. That was a threat from Quentin Tarantino himself.
Nah, I can't do it.
Yeah, you know you can do it.
Yeah, because you're filming.
Yeah.
But if that was off, I'd be whipping your ass up and down this street.
Yeah, go.
Saying,
No way the mics didn't pick that up.
no way, no way. All right. Well, we were interrupted by Quentin Tarantino arriving on a motorcycle, an absolute hog, because I put Star Wars A New Hope over Pulp Fiction on my top 10 of all time. Thank you, Quentin, for interrupting me. But Star Wars is... it's almost a miracle it was made.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to testaments of everyone involved, including George Lucas, that man was stressed making that movie, and it turned out good. And that movie is such an integral piece of my childhood as well. And it's a well-made movie. It's a well-made, just hero's journey film. Star Wars could have only ever existed as Star Wars and never been the massive franchise
True.
It has become and now kind of faded into. And I think it would still have a cult following.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be one of those old movies. It's like, man, Star Wars. Wish they would have gotten a second one if it never did. Because it's such a solid film. It has a beginning, middle, and end. And if you want to, it has a world you can explore further, in your mind. God knows many kids, when they got the action figures, made up their own stuff. So, and it's just, it's got this beautiful simplicity to it that I love as well. And it introduced a lot of actors. This was Mark Hamill's break, Carrie Fisher's break. Harrison Ford was not acting before Star Wars. He had kind of given up and gone into carpentry. So, and then he does this, and then 3 years later he does Empire, and then a year after Empire he does Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's like, Harrison Ford, superstar at that point. So, I feel like without Star Wars you don't get some of the other films that could be in people's top 10s list. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, I know, is a film that many people would probably put in their top 10. Not in either of ours, but it's great. In acting, you can always take a moment to appreciate just some of the prowess on screen. Peter Cushing as Tarkin is just slime ball incarnate.
Alec Guinness.
Sir Alec. Put some respect on his name. I remember watching Star Wars, no audio. It was on at a brewery. So it was I don't even think subtitles were on. But I was just watching, and Alec Guinness is on screen. And it's in the scene where Luke's in his hut. He's kind of this is the Force, Luke. And I knew your dad, and I'm not going to tell you all the details, but his just everything in that scene, like, sets up. And I think without Alec Guinness, you don't get as good a performance in story with Obi-Wan later on. Because you can go back to New Hope and kind of be like, there's such a deep history here that goes beyond the surface level. And I guess just all in all, Star Wars hits a lot of marks for me and forever changed my trajectory in life, probably. Like, if my cousin and some of my family members never would have shown me Star Wars, like, my cousin definitely fostered my love for it. So that's where that comes in. But if he wouldn't have been there, I don't think I'd be half the person I was today without it. Because that is a film that early on definitely flipped a switch in my head that puts me to later places, that leads me to where I am right here on this podcast.
Yeah.
And that's my top 10 of all time. So I think there's a lot of hitters. 10 movies that if I were to drop dead yesterday and you discovered this list, I'm fully confident in someone watching. So, yeah. I mean, before we get to yours, we got to have a little break for our partners of the podcast.
Our affiliate, Dubby.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Guess it's time to do a little business. Are you tired of the jitters from coffee or spending way too much money on your favorite gas station energy drink that isn't even that good for you? Well, you got to try Dubby. Now that I've had my Dubby, I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. I'm drinking Dragonade today, but they have plenty of other flavors such as Tiger's Blood, S'mores, Mango Orange Cream. They'll have one just for you. And the best part about it is, you can get 10% off your Jitterless caffeine supply today by going to Dubby and using code STUDIO24DUBBY. That's right. You can get 10% off your entire Jitterless caffeine supply and help support this show by using code STUDIO24DUBBY. That's right. Don't sleep on Dubby.
And then I'll take you right into my top 10 here. So, my number 10 and number 9, we've already talked about. At number 10, I've got The Batman, and at number 9, I've got Good Will Hunting. And similar to some of your picks, Good Will Hunting, the Batman, I just love that movie. I love Batman. I think The Batman's probably the best comic book movie of all time.
Big contender.
Based on The Long Halloween. Just an amazing movie. You could argue The Dark Knight's a better film, and I'll probably agree there. But as a lover of comic book movies, I think The Batman's a better comic book movie, and I gotta put a comic book movie on my list.
Yeah.
Number 9, Good Will Hunting. Short story about it. I was going to film school, and I'd been to orientation, and lover of comic book movies, that was a majority of what I had seen, probably.
Yeah.
Besides maybe just movies I watched growing up. And I go to orientation for film school, and they're talking about so many movies that I felt like I was a child idiot and that these people were already filmmakers. So I dedicated my summer to, before I go start film school, I'm going to watch all these movies. And Good Will Hunting was the first movie on that list. And I watched Good Will Hunting, and I was like, holy shit. This is what a good movie is.
Yeah.
So, those two I'm very fond of. Before I move up my list, I've got a couple honorable mentions.
Let's hear 'em.
Of movies that we haven't talked about yet. And one's going to kind of feed into the Batman 7. Honorable mention. 7's an amazing movie. David Fincher had to wiggle his way onto this list somewhere, and he doesn't get into my top 10, but hell, with that movie, Gone Girl, what's that one movie? The Killer. He could have gotten up here, and probably Gone Girl and The Killer could be honorable mentions as well. Oh, The Killer.
Honestly surprised David Fincher didn't make it onto my list. He's a great.
Yeah, David Fincher, we're sorry. We're actually just idiots and didn't put you on this list anywhere.
He can, beat our ass up and down the street and us not care.
Well,
probably.
we'll get into beating somebody's ass up the street.
Okay.
Because I've also got The Dark Knight on my honorable mentions, but then, and I hope Quentin doesn't come back
What's going on here?
and beat my ass up and down the street.
Roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
You'll be whipping your ass up and down this street.
Yeah.
Because in my honorable mentions, I've got Django Unchained. I love this movie.
You hear it? He's coming.
He's coming. He's gonna kick my ass up and down the street. But yeah, Django I love. Just a lot of themes I really like in this movie. And while we may look down upon QT now because of the outrageous shit he says, Django is an amazing film.
Hey, I feel like maybe he's a guy that's always been saying some bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
But when you put him behind a camera and let him make a movie, it's like, all right, we're cool for this 2 hours and 30 minutes you gave me.
True. So we've made it through my honorable mentions. We've got the Batman at number 10. Because you have Good Will Hunting, we already talked about Good Will Hunting. I've actually just replaced Good Will Hunting on my list with a film that I do like more. But that film's not going to go at number 9.
Are you switching Batman to number 9?
No.
Is Batman getting knocked off?
No, Batman's not getting knocked off. We just have a couple films getting knocked down.
Okay.
So at number 9, I have Hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to have a Robert Eggers film or a Ari Aster film on the list because of their style and how much it's influenced me as a filmmaker. But Hereditary scared the shit out of me at like 22 years old. To the point where I was like checking the corners of
your own
rooms when I would walk into one to make sure there wasn't no demon about to jump out and get me. Hereditary, still one of my favorite horror films ever, and the only horror films that are higher on this list are films that inspired Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
So at number 8, we go into the film that inspired Hereditary, 1968's Rosemary's Baby. This is a film filled with dread, and I love a film that puts you in the head of the main character the whole entire film. You are wondering, is she crazy or are the people around her right? And when you get your answer at the end, you have no heart or stomach left in your body to even believe the shit. Everything is ripped away from you, and you are just left to watch the ending of the film. Shout out Immaculate, the movie starring Sydney Sweeney that came out last year that was like straight rip of like pretty much like modern day nun version of Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
But, oh God, I love Rosemary's Baby. So that was 10, because I moved some things around here. That was number 8. Number 7.
Is this the one you added?
No. Number 7, I've got The Empire Strikes Back.
Shout out.
You talked about Star Wars. I'm going to go a step further and say that, like, The Empire Strikes Back was maybe my original trilogy film where I was like, oh, man. They somehow made a sequel that, like, might be better than the original film.
I think, hot take here, Star Wars might be my number 1 film, but I think Empire is a better film.
Absolutely.
I think it's the best Star Wars film.
I do too. That's why it's the only Star Wars film I have on my list here. But then we're going to go to number 6. And this is just a movie I could quote without even like throwing on the TV, and I might be able to get like front to back on.
All right.
The movie I've seen maybe more than any other movie, and that is a Disney film from the early 2000s. Remember the Titans.
All right.
And I am a sports movie guy, but I don't love or maybe respect most sports movies as like high art films because they all play the same. But Remember the Titans tells a story that's much deeper than sports, and the cast is amazing. I mean, you throw this movie on, it just gets me fired up. And I will always remember the day that they played the Titans. Just an incredible film, incredible characters. Denzel Washington
Rarely turns in a bad performance.
Doesn't.
If ever.
But probably by far my favorite performance of his. Just so believable. Growing up in like a sports culture, that movie's just awesome. But then we get to number 5, and this is the movie that I've added. I don't know how
I've been curious.
How I forgot about Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons mashup with Whiplash.
Dude, yeah.
Whiplash is just one of the coolest movies I've ever
Not gonna
seen.
lie. Last year, 2025, felt like Neiman sometimes.
Neiman.
I felt like Neiman rolling in after that car crash. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, but just such an awesome movie. The cost of greatness is kind of what we talk about in this film. And, maybe there are total different ideas of the cost of greatness and how you get there. And I can just really subscribe to the thoughts that are being presented in this movie.
I think it's a great film that really challenges you, because you're like, J.K. Simmons' character, what's his name? Fletcher is a menace.
Yeah.
And oftentimes does take it way too far. And is a bad guy at certain points. But at the end of the day, he has a point.
Yeah, it's like, he almost gets into this like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant mindset of like, if you want to be the greatest, you gotta, do what nobody else will. You gotta take it to an extreme that nobody else will. You gotta dig and dig and dig and never give up and take everything to just its most extreme to be the greatest at what you could be. Can't say enough good things about Whiplash.
All right.
Number 4. Christopher Nolan. Interstellar. This is a movie that when I first watched it, you just get to the 3rd act and I just kind of started crying.
Yeah.
I think you deal with maybe space and time in this movie better than anything I have ever seen in my life. And one scene that haunts me is when they are on the water planet and they kind of realize that they put together, I think, that every 7 minutes, or it's like every hour is 7 years, or something like that. But they realize that, like, we spend time here and we're losing our Earth lives. Mm-hmm. Like, our kids are growing up. And that's Matthew McConaughey's character is like, I'm missing my kids grow up right now who like desperately want me to come home and be their father.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie just makes me cry because it's so emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you just can't say enough great things about Christopher Nolan, so I'm not even going to. We move to number 3. The Exorcist.
Oh, you're a big-time fan of this movie. I know that.
Love this. I think this is hands down the best horror film of all time. It started the horror films that we watch today. We wouldn't have movies like Hereditary without movies like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby. And this film took Rosemary's Baby a step further with like actual demon possession and makeup and animatronics and getting gross.
Yeah.
This movie just isn't afraid to get gross and scare the hell out of you in like a type of way.
Yeah.
But it also uses demons and demonic voices, and it just tries to scare you in almost every possible way you could think of. And a lot of those things just work seamlessly. Love The Exorcist. Love the whole like Father Karras plot. Like, you just have a lot of good storytelling involved in this movie. And then that is the last horror film on this list. I move to number 2. A film franchise that I have watched since I was a kid, but when I rewatched as an adult, I was like, "Oh, this is just the story of America. This is an American story." We go with Rocky. And Sylvester Stallone wrote this movie by himself, living off scraps. He sold his dog so that he could eat, made the movie, and then bought his dog back. Like, you just can't get any more, like, gritty than Rocky does. And love the fact that Rocky loses at the end of this movie. Like, it's not a fairy tale either.
Yeah.
Well, like, later on in the series, we get to a point where we're like, oh, Rocky's best boxer. He winning all the time.
Yeah.
But right here, it's like, oh, he's just a guy that kind of refused to lose until he finally did. But, like, you see, when somebody refuses to lose, you got to give it everything you can to knock them down. And willpower will just take you farther than anything else. And I love the story of Rocky. I love Rocky as a character. And maybe, my whole life, I've kind of related to Rocky. It's like, I don't see myself as like the best at anything I do. And I don't think Rocky does either. But I do see myself in a sense like, you're not going to beat me because I give up. And you're not going to beat me because I'm not trying hard. And that is Rocky Balboa. It's just an amazing, timeless story. Then we get to my number 1 film. This is another film. Watched it early on in my cinephile endeavor, filmmaking journey, and just kind of changed the way I thought about movies 100%. Another film that brought me to tears. The Shawshank Redemption. Andy Dufresne.
That one almost
in
made it on my
Shawshank.
list multiple times.
Man, you've got Andy Dufresne, you've got Red, and you've got, the whole hook of this film that's really good. This man's been wrongfully imprisoned, and he doesn't give up. He doesn't, say like, oh, well, there's my life, He kind of dedicates his life to, making something out of it, even though these are the cards he's been dealt.
Yeah.
And you see that he goes into the prison and he doesn't, die. He goes and he makes friends there. And you get to see the lives of these inmates. And I really like how Red kind of sets you up with like, oh, let me guess, like, you innocent. We all innocent, in those kind of terms. And you just kind of get to know these characters that feel like real people. You get their real stories. You get tragedy. You get happy endings for some characters. You just get a little bit of everything in this movie, in my opinion. You have your antagonist, the warden, and even, he gets what's coming for him at the end.
Yeah.
So, this is maybe just one of the more balanced films I've ever seen. And because of the emotional weight that it struck on me at such a young age, and because the fact that it still puts that emotional weight on me now when I watch it, it's always been my number 1 pick. I've never been able to say anything bad or move it down a list because The Shawshank Redemption is one of the best films of all time, hands down. And if you can find me someone who disagrees with that, I'm not saying it's the best film of all time. I'm saying it's one of the best films of all time. And if you can find someone who's seen it that disagrees with that, I'd be shocked.
That's a fair statement. It's just what you said. One of the best films of all time. Like, I don't think it's deniable. Any list you look up, top 20 at least, it's in there.
Yeah.
If not, it's in the top 10. Most of the time, I feel like I've seen it top 5.
Yeah.
Best films of all time type thing.
Right.
So,
But yeah, we hope you enjoyed us going through our top 10 films, what are your top 10 films? I always like to see what someone's favorite movie is.
Yeah.
But when you ask someone what their favorite movie is, you don't often get a clear answer. But if you ask for somebody's top 5, top 10, you really get to find out what kind of movies they watch, and maybe you get to find out a little bit about them as a person.
Exactly. I feel like today's episode was a bit of a peek into us.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to end this episode off with a little bit of real talk?
Sure. Start us off with some real talk.
Man, I mentioned earlier that the past year has been like... Sometimes I feel like Neiman rolling in after that car crash.
Yeah.
But you know what? It happens. It happens. It happens to the best of us. What's important is that we don't go and freak out and punch Fletcher. Some cases there's not a Fletcher to be punched, and then get dragged off stage. But it's important that we keep on going, and sometimes you got to do something as simple as count your blessings.
Yeah.
Recall a movie in some ways. I think comfort movies are a great thing. It's part of why Star Wars is probably my number one.
So we've got some comfort movies on this list.
Exactly. And yeah, I like getting to do this because I think it does get to show any kind of like personal film list gets to show us to you. And I think if you could reciprocate in the comments and, talk to us about you through your list of movies, that'd be fun to see. I don't care what movies are on it. I gave a friggin' honorable mention to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Like, the ghost of Alfred Hitchcock is probably plotting against me after saying that. So,
because we didn't put Psycho. Actually, here he comes.
Put Psycho. Yeah, we got a whole cadre of directors of the greatest films of all time out that door, waiting to kick our ass up and down the street. Roll the clip.
Be whipping your ass up and down this street.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if I had to take this into any real talk at all, I would just say that, we are moving into a new year. This is when a lot of people try to do a lot of new, and they try to make their lives better in some way. And I think I've maybe come to terms of like, I don't want to change much of anything going into the new year besides continue doing the things that I'm already doing at an even higher level with more consistency. There's nothing you can add just and say, hey, I'm in this new year, I'm going to start doing this. It never works out. You'll try that, and then maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. But, I'm just going to keep doing me as consistently as I possibly can. And, that's where I'm headed in the new year. I'm really excited to, wrap up a year, look back, and then move forward, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I think you're dead on, I think I feel a similar way. Most of the stuff that I didn't like that happened in 2025, it's things out of my control,
Yeah.
And like, I can only control what's within my grasp, and stuff that's out of that, I can't. And the stuff I can work harder on to do that. And I think in this new year, I think it's time for me to sharpen my skills and stuff like that and get back into something that I think I started strong on last year and kind of held strong for a while, but then life sort of happened and took me off that path. And I find myself wanting to come back, get in the arena, sharpen sharpen and get more work under my belt there.
Get back in the arena, Rock.
I got to get back in the fight. I got to get back in the fight. So yeah, that's my real talk.
Yeah.
That's
So
about it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real Talk Podcast. This is episode 7. We will be back with clips. We will be back with episode 8. And we will just be here, like always, talking movies. So come hang out with us.
Talking movies.
We have plenty of other stuff going on. We have a filmmaking channel called Studio 24. We have I have a Batman channel called The Absolute Bat. So if you're just fans of us two goobers, go check us out on some other YouTube channels and just go have a year. It is 2026, and whether you thought you'd be here or not, we're here now, and I hope you live it up and do your best.
Quote your number one film. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Peace.